just curious. Why do people automatically assume that a woman that stays with a man that they know is doing stuff behind their back and just is just disconnected, period? Why do you automatically assume that that means the woman is just like dismissive of everything and completely okay with it? And she's just like, oh, I'm okay with being treated like that. When in reality, a lot of women are strategic. And we know like our situation is something we can handle currently, especially if we know what the fuck's going on. We know what's up, you know? We know what we're in for now.
So Stephanie Jenkins is saying, yeah, she knows Drew's cheating and doing things behind her back, but she's still going to stay with the man and try to make it work. Or if it can't work, then she wants engagement. That way she has an out plan. Like, girl, have more self-respect for yourself and your kids. Like, you're raising girls. You want them to think it's okay to show that kind of behavior from a man and take it?
Stephanie Jenkins just posted like 20 minutes ago basically saying that she's so mad that people are talking about her using hard substances because her eyes look like she's always tired, puffy, or red, and she's just really paranoid. She's talking about how she isn't paranoid and she's not using any hard substances, but we all know that she is. The only thing she uses is Mary Jane. How?
Stephanie Jenkins' delusional post just made her CPS case worse. Steph said it proudly. She let Drew, not because she didn't care, not because she was trapped, no, because she believed it made her look strategic. In her own words, she made a conscious decision to stay with a man who publicly humiliated her, abandoned their children, and repeatedly cheated, all while she live-streamed from a one-room motel, juggling 5 kids, an online audience, and what TikTok is now calling a complete psychological breakdown. And this wasn't a one-time confession. Stephanie doubled down, over and over again, justifying the chaos in every live stream with a shaky smile and a confusing logic. To the internet, it's delusional. To Child Protective Services, it's cause for concern. But to Stephanie Jenkins, she says it was a calculated survival mode. She wasn't being naive, she was playing chess. Or so she thinks. Court is officially in session. Today's case, the people versus Stephanie Jenkins. The charges: endangering her children, manipulating public sympathy, glamorizing dysfunction, emotionally neglecting her children, and building an internet persona off the back of chaos. This is the case of strategic cheating, public meltdowns, and motel room madness. Case filing. Stephanie Jenkins has long walked the volatile tightrope between viral sympathy and viral shame. Her TikTok journey has always been messy, but this time, it feels like something has snapped entirely. This isn't just another flare-up, it's a full-blown implosion in real time. The spiral isn't just subtle anymore. It's more drawn out, more performative, more volatile. And the consequences? They are no longer speculative. They are visible, tangible, and deeply alarming. This isn't just Stephanie trying to weather the storm of TikTok backlash. It's her staring in a storm of her own mates, streaming it for likes. It all starts with Drew, her partner in chaos, whose shameless cheating was not only public, but also seemingly accepted by Stephanie in her latest justification within live streams. But his infidelity is just the tip of the iceberg. Beneath the surface of lies is a sea of chaos. Repeat visits from CPS, hotel hopping instability, screaming matches caught live, exhausted and displaced children, and a woman who insists she has everything under control.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Why do people automatically assume that a woman that stays with a man that they know is doing stuff behind their back and just is just disconnected, period? Why do you automatically assume that that means the woman is just like dismissive of everything and completely okay with it? And she's just like, oh, I'm okay with being treated like that.
Stephanie's live streams have become a nightly broadcast of unraveling. Emotional rants at 3 a.m., delusional explanations, statements that contradict her previous claims from just hours before. 1 minute, she cries over Drew's absence. The next, she says she never cared. 1 week, she's devastated. The next, she is strategic. And in the background of every scene, her kids, hungry, sleep deprived, quietly enduring their mother's digital spectacle. The question now isn't, is Stephanie misunderstood? It's a much more urgent one. Are her children safe in this environment? Because if what she's calling strategy involves exposing her children to repeated trauma, instability, and online humiliation, then what does rock bottom even mean anymore? Has she already hit it? Or are we still watching her fall? The evidence we have isn't circumstantial. It's documented in live streams, screen recordings, comments, and cries for help that echo through motel walls. This isn't about one viral moment. This is about a timeline of dysfunction unfolding like a documentary in real time. It's no longer just disturbing, it's dangerous. And every day she hits go live, the situation sinks lower. Exhibit A. In a now viral video, Stephanie stares directly into the camera with a face that looks half convinced of her own reasoning and asks, why do people assume a woman staying with a cheating man means she's okay with it? She speaks with a certain confidence, brushing off public outrage and criticism like it's all one big misunderstanding. She argues that her decision to remain with Drew wasn't based on weakness, naivety, or dependency, but instead what she calls strategy.
When in reality, a lot of women are strategic. And we know, like, our situation is something we can handle currently. Especially if we know what the fuck's going on. We know what's up, you know? We know what we're in for now. Disconnect is not anything I can't handle. And I've said this many times. Him and I work good as a family. Our kids thrive when him and I are working together to do what's best for our kids.
According to Stephanie, this was a deliberate move, a calculated risk, a mother's choice to preserve what little structure she could for her children. She explained further, disconnect wasn't something I could handle, and doubled down with, our kids thrive better when Drew and I are working together.
And that's just that. Why y'all gotta assume that I'm instantly just like dismissive of everything that I spoke of and that it's back and forth with the mental? No, it can all be the same. It can literally all be accurate at the same time. I can be trying to work on things with him and see if we still have a future together, as well as planning that possibility isn't a thing, but making sure I'm good if that's the case.
But let's take a step back and analyze what Stephanie is actually defending here. Because these statements aren't just wrong, they are dangerous. When she says her children are striving, what does she mean? Is it striving when your kids are sleeping on the kitchen floor? Is it striving when they don't know where they will be next week, when the motel stay runs out? Is it striving when chaos, yelling, and instability become the soundtrack of their childhood? What Stephanie conveniently forgets to mention is that not long ago, these same kids had stability, bedrooms, a routine, a loving, structured home under her mother's roof. But she left it all. She willingly packed her children into instability, following Drew, a man who had no plan, no job, no consistency, into a cramped one-bedroom situation that quickly descended into chaos. She left behind stability for dysfunction and then tried to frame it as strategy.
Stephanie really came up on this app and called us all stupid pretty much for not understanding why she's staying with Drew and calls it being strategic, even though she's aware that he's cheating on her. Girl, what? What in the absolute fuck are you even talking about? She was mumbling and rambling for fucking 2 minutes straight about how her kids thrive when her and Drew are together, and she's staying with him to figure out if they have a future together still or not, and if not, that's okay too. Tell me how your kids are fucking thriving when you're living in a motel room with 7 fucking people. Contact me back in like 18 years and tell me how thriving they are. Because I bet they're not. They're probably going to be in counseling for severe issues. She literally has no shame whatsoever. She gets on here, she talks shit, she says he left her. Not even 12 hours later, she's up here trying to fucking gaslight everybody and calling everyone else stupid because we don't understand what she's doing at this point.
Let's talk about what this strategy actually involved. While Stephanie claims to be thinking 3 steps ahead, the reality paints a much more desperate picture. Stephanie and Drew kept the only bed for themselves, while their children were forced to sleep in common areas like the kitchen and living room, a setup that would make any CPS caseworker take notice. There was no long-term housing plan, no financial stability, no educational consistency, and no emotional safety.
Can you understand that, or is that just too much? But given these accounts that want to just sit there and be like, it's in the eyes, you see it, she's using, stop giving them views. Meanwhile, they put their angles on the camera somewhere where you can't see they're actually the ones using. Come on. I literally have nothing to hide, and I put myself up here looking raunchy as all get out. I would probably be a little more ashamed of that and try to hide it if I was using and paranoid about it. Most users are paranoid too. But I'm fucking tired. I'm really tired.
And then there is the emotional contradiction. If Stephanie truly knew what she was doing, if she was fully in control and unbothered by Drew's infidelity because it was part of a larger plan, then why did she spiral when Drew blocked her? Why did she publicly beg him to return? Why did she cry on lives and accuse him of abandoning not just her, but the entire family? Why did she go into meltdown after meltdown when his attention turned to another woman? This isn't strategy. It's survival dressed up as empowerment. It's being painted as poise. It's self-inflicted sabotage disguised as maternal resilience. Because at the end of the day, Stephanie wasn't playing chess. She was playing damage control. And the damage? It's not just emotional. It's real. It's structural. It's harming children who had no choice in the matter.
Girl, have more self-respect for yourself and your kids. You're raising girls. You want them to think it's okay to show that kind of behavior from a man and take it? And now you have CPS in your life because of your live from yesterday. You look hotmessexpress.com. It's like you're begging for engagement, but you sit on this app saying you make enough money to be a stay-at-home motel mom. And it's the same song and dance every week. Drew did this, we're splitting up. And then you get back on saying y'all are making it work because that's what works best for you and your family. Do you know how many freaking people could say the same? But once they get cheated on, they move around. So you choose to stay with a man who does the bare minimum and cheat? Wow, that blows my mind. But for the longest, you were on this app defending this man.
Stephanie wants the internet to see her as strong, as smart, as unshakable. But every tear she sheds over Drew's betrayal tells a different story. Every excuse she gives reveals cracks in her logic. Every live stream where she rants about her circumstances and defends Drew only confirms what the rest of us already know. This isn't a woman executing a master plan. This is a woman refusing to accept she deserves better and dragging her children through the fallout in the process. Exhibit B. TikTok's comments are flooded. People want to know, is she using? The questions aren't baseless. The signs are stacking up. Under eye circles so deep they look bruised. Speech patterns that jump from sluggish to frantic. Endless late-night live streams filmed in dim lighting. Twitchy eyes, zoned-out expressions, and a kind of energy that doesn't read. It reads as unwell. And instead of addressing these concerns directly, Stephanie responds with a defensive outburst that only raises more red flags. Quit giving views to accounts saying it's in the eyes. They are the ones using. There is no acknowledgement of the obvious signs, no real denial either, just deflection, projection, accusation. But then, in the same breath, she casually confesses, I use Mary Jane. She says this without blinking. No pause, no context, No regard for the fact that she's holding her nursing infant while doing so. No concern that what she's just admitted could explain a lot of what viewers are picking up on: the mood swings, the mental fog, the breakdowns, the paranoia. She follows it up with this strange justification: I'd be more ashamed if I was paranoid. Most users are paranoid.
Stephanie Jenkins just posted like 20 minutes ago basically saying that she's so mad that people are talking about her using hard substances because her eyes look like she's always tired, puffy, or red, and she's just really paranoid. She's talking about how she isn't paranoid and she's not using any hard substances, but we all know that she is. The only thing she uses is Mary Jane. How? Like, how is it that you're using Mary Jane or that you're toking it up, but your kids and you are struggling financially? I do this because she's not struggling financially. As in, one of her videos made 18 million views, which equates to anywhere close to 20 grand because she gets a ton of engagement. But you're going to tell me that you need money. You don't pay for your rent. You don't really pay for anything. You're just used to getting handouts. And, well, I'm thinking Drew found somebody else to support him and be his baby mama, sugar mama, whatever you want to call it, because Stephanie Jenkins is crashing out, and I'm here for it. Like, I'm here for all these videos of her posting trying to defend herself, because it's giving user relapse whatever.
A bold claim, and one that aged poorly. Because not even 10 minutes later, Stephanie is back on camera whispering that she's being followed. She says that people in luxury cars are tracking her, that she sees the same black Mercedes parked across from the motel, that her motel neighbors are eavesdropping through the walls, that someone is out to get her. There was a black Mercedes that slowed down at the park. I just knew they were following me. She starts filming from her bathroom, whispering as if she's on the run. Her eyes dart. Her voice trembles. She says her neighbors must have had everything through the walls. She says she can feel people watching her.
Stephanie Jenkins is saying that her neighbor is spying on her and she can prove it because somehow Stephanie Jenkins from the Resilient Jenkins knows that her neighbor has their door open or is trying to eavesdrop through her apartment motel shelter. Like, how can you tell that anybody is spying on you if you're inside? You know how? Because if you're using rugs, that's how. Now, I just think it's wild that she first even referred to that guy as her neighbor or the girl, whoever. She doesn't say their sex. Who am I to assume, right? But, like, how? You mean there's other people in these shelters that are staying there and calling it their homes for years upon years? Yeah, maybe it's people that actually need to be at a motel shelter, not somebody like you, Stephanie Jenkins, who just is trying to collect the bag, collect the coin. Now, I don't understand why you are also talking about in the same video that you should be donating money. Like, what is up with you and donating? This is the same video that she's saying that other people are telling her that she should give back to the community, like she's some kind of celebrity. Like, who's telling her, Stephanie Jenkins, why aren't you giving back to the community who, like, is paying your bills? I don't know. But
this isn't TikTok drama anymore. This is textbook paranoia, streamed live. And all of it is happening while her 5 children are just a few feet away, sleeping on motel floors, listening to their mother spiral into fear and fantasy, watching her pace, watching her whisper, watching her cry. This isn't just about Stephanie anymore. It's about the children who are living throughout this broadcast. The ones whose lives are being shaped by an environment where their mother is unraveling on live while thousands of strangers react with laughing emojis, heart emojis, and calling for CPS. Stephanie calls this functional. She insists she's in control, that everything is under control. But let's be clear. Functionality means being present, alert, emotionally available, and consistent. What Stephanie is offering right now isn't functionality, it's fragmentation. It's chaos in real time. And if this is what she looks like with the camera on. One has to wonder, what happens when it's off? Exhibit C. She cries one week, breaks down overdue leaving. She sobs into the camera, her voice trembling, her words frantic. She accuses him of abandoning their family, of choosing attention from another woman over the well-being of his children. She talks about feeling discarded, heartbroken, betrayed. The emotional pain radiates through the screen. It's raw, messy, and very, very real. And then, almost as if trying to erase all of it, Stephanie turns around and says, I was never in love. I was being strategic. Strategic? That's what she calls those hours of public grieving? That's what she calls those sleepless nights spent crying on TikTok? Her entire timeline is filled with contradictions, and even her followers can't keep up anymore. She insists she's playing chess while the rest of us are playing checkers. She insists she's in control, that she's got a plan, but every life contradicts the last. She tells us, I am trying to see if we have a future, but also preparing in case we don't. So which is it? Is she emotionally detached or devastated? Is she staying out of loyalty, strategy, survival, or confusion? Because her content shows a woman completely torn apart by rejection, pleading for Drew to come home 1 minute and insisting she doesn't need him the next. And it's not just confusing, it's manipulative. She tells her audience one thing, then tells them they misunderstood. She says, does this explanation make sense, or is it too much? When viewers express concern or criticism, she doubles. She calls them judgmental, says they're twisting her words, accuses them of rooting for her failure. Then, in the very next video, she will say she values honesty, that she wants to tell her story transparently.
You know, I get where a lot of people come from when they're saying, like, if it was me, I'd keep a lot of that off the internet. Because I get it. I do. But to me, and this is just me personally, that just felt like the cowardly approach. Because I had like 1 of 3 options. This is really truly where I'm at. Struggling mentally, being postpartum, and like y'all know, living homeless. And yeah, like, I get that posting my authentic feeling in the matter is just making me come off crazy, because currently, even I'm going to admit that I'm a little bit crazy, you know? But I'm not ashamed of it, nor do I think it reflects on how I parent my kids. It's just not, it's not something I agree with. I feel like, see, right now, he'll sit there and be like, zooted, because this is the first time I'm able to present myself as calm as I'd like to without the constant overstimulation of just what is being in this environment like this.
But what story are we supposed to believe? The one where she's healing from heartbreak, or the one where she was never heartbroken to begin with? She wants credit for being strategic. She wants to be seen as composed, level-headed, wise. But when the consequences of her choices come knocking, when her narrative starts to crack, she reaches for sympathy. She cries, she collapses, and when people don't buy the performance, she calls them toxic. This cycle, meltdown, denial, blame, has repeated itself so many times that it's no longer. But what is shocking is how she continues to call it growth, as if spiraling in circles is a form of progress, as if manipulating public perception is empowerment. Stephanie wants to be praised for being strong, but strength doesn't look like contradiction. It doesn't look like confusion masquerading as confidence. It doesn't look like emotional instability wrapped in the word strategy. It looks like someone crying one night and calmly owning the pain the next, not flipping the script to save face, not rewriting the narrative to dodge accountability. Stephanie doesn't want to be seen as broken, but she refuses to stop breaking down. Exhibit D. Mental health versus motherhood. In another rumbling video, Stephanie admits, I am not ashamed of my struggles. I am postpartum. I am homeless. I am mentally drained. She says, I don't want pills. I believe in natural medicine. While refusing help, she insists her parenting isn't affected. Meanwhile, her kids are crying off camera, fighting over space on the floor while she records. She breaks down in motel bathrooms with thin walls. Her kids are feet away, listening, absorbing, learning this is normal. She claims being overwhelmed doesn't affect them, but it does. Every night they watch her unravel. Every day they wake up in chaos. She says, I want peace. I want space. But they are in a single room. There is no space, no privacy, no decompression, not for her, not for them, and it's starting to show. Exhibit E, screaming at a child. The clip is still circulating, and not because it was harmless family moment. No, it shows a mother, Stephanie, screaming at her 10-year-old daughter for one simple human thing, saying no to babysitting her baby sister. You always do this. You're selfish. Her voice was sharp, cutting, emotional. Her tone wasn't that of a mother setting boundaries. It was that of someone who had snapped. The child, visibly caught off guard, didn't scream back. She didn't argue. She simply looked away. She wanted to rest. Stephanie wanted help. And instead of parenting with compassion, she unleashed her frustration onto a child already bound by too much responsibility. This wasn't a moment of miscommunication. It was a clear display of emotional mismanagement, and it was caught live on a platform where thousands were watching. Later, trying to save face, Stephanie justified her behavior by saying, kids need boundaries. A lot of parents talk to their kids that way. But this wasn't just talking. It was a meltdown, public, unfiltered, and directed at a child who had done nothing wrong. Let's be clear. Healthy boundaries do not involve humiliating your child on social media. They do not involve demanding that your oldest child take on parental duties simply because you're tired or overwhelmed. Boundaries are about structure, safety, respect, not control, manipulation, or guilt tripping. What Stephanie did was not boundary setting. It was outsourcing her responsibilities and then pushing her daughter when she didn't comply. That's not parenting. That's neglect with a Wi-Fi connection. This 10-year-old wasn't being defiant. She was being a child, a tired, likely overwhelmed child in a one-room motel who just wanted a moment to herself. And now, when that girl looks back, she won't just remember the shouting. She'll remember the shame. She'll remember the comments scrolling across the screen. The fact that strangers witnessed her pain, that her vulnerability became content. What happens when a child is not only yelled at, but broadcast to an audience of thousands as selfish for drawing a line? The emotional toll of that moment won't just fade. It will echo for years. It will change how she sees herself, how she trusts adults, how she learns to speak up or stay silent. Stephanie wants the world to believe she's a tough mom setting structure. But what we saw in that clip wasn't structure. It was collapse. It was displacement. It was a mother projecting her cries onto a child, then defending it as discipline. Exhibit F, CPS and the rejection of help. Stephanie proudly shared how she turned CPS away. I told them to get away from me with the accusations. She said she needs healing, not judgment. But let's be clear. CPS doesn't knock on your door for fun. It's because something is wrong. Because people have reported. Because children are at risk. And her response? Not to listen, not to consider, but to deny. I am just trying to do better. But how? What's the actual plan? Because live streaming at 2:30 a.m. while your children try to sleep isn't part of any recovery plan I've seen. Neither is calling out your children's behavior on live like they are villains. Neither is acting like you're the victim when people express concern. The fallout. TikTok's once sympathetic jury, they have turned with a force no one expected. The same comment sections that once overflowed with encouragement and gentle concern have now erupted into outrage, disbelief, and urgent calls for intervention. These poor kids. This is not content. This is child abuse. Someone please step in. The tone has shifted completely. What once might have been dismissed as chaotic but harmless content is now being called out for what it truly is, a public unraveling with children trapped in the backdrop. People are no longer tolerating the excuses. They have seen enough tears, enough contradictions, enough evidence. They are no longer watching as passive viewers. They are responding like witnesses to a crisis. The audience that once gave Stephanie the benefit of the doubt is now pleading with authorities, tagging CPS in videos, reporting live streams, and compiling compilations as digital proof. The general sentiment? Someone has to step in before it's too late. Brands that once quietly collaborated with her have since distanced themselves entirely. No more PR-friendly mom collabs. No more monetized partnerships. No more affiliate links in bios. Her follow count is slowly dropping, but more importantly, the trust is gone. Once you lose public trust in the parenting space, it's nearly impossible to get it back. She didn't just lose followers, she lost the one thing TikTok mothers need to survive: credibility. And behind it all, Drew, the absentee partner, the man whose cheating set off the downward spiral. He continues to ghost the fallout, popping in just long enough to do damage, then disappearing again. His pattern is clear. Avoid responsibility, show face when convenient, and leave Stephanie to clean up what's left of their collapsing image. But while Stephanie spirals and Drew vanishes, the real victims are the children. They are stuck in the eye of this digital hurricane. 5 innocent lives caught between a crumbling home, an internet feeding frenzy, and a mother who won't turn off the camera long enough to truly protect them. These kids didn't sign up for live streams. They didn't sign up to be backdrops in their mother's meltdown. They are the ones living in the trauma while the world judges from afar. Their cries, their sleep, their silence, all caught in real time. And the saddest part? Every comment calling for CPS, every brand backing out, every viewer clicking away. It doesn't seem to change anything. Stephanie keeps filming, keeps talking, keeps spiraling. This is no longer a case of internet drama. This is the documented unraveling of a family, and the internet is watching every moment of it unfold. The judge's analysis. Stephanie Jenkins isn't just spiraling. She is broadcasting it, live streaming it, monetizing it. The defense? Always the same. I'm trying. I'm overwhelmed. I'm doing my best. But the intent doesn't override the impact. Not when kids are crying. Not when the trauma is unfolding in real time. These kids aren't content. They are casualties of instability, of exploitation, of misplaced priorities. Stephanie says she wants to be authentic, real, transparent. But the truth is, some things shouldn't be live streamed. Not mental breakdowns, not parental fights, and definitely not a 10-year-old girl being screamed at while strangers comment prayers. A good mom doesn't have to convince people she's good. A good mom protects, shields, nurtures. Stephanie, at this point, is doing the opposite, and her kids are paying the price. The verdict. We've seen the exhibits. We've had the contradictions. We've watched the spirals. Stephanie Jenkins says she's strategic, but this isn't chess. It's checkers played blindfolded on broken glass. Is she guilty of being overwhelmed? Maybe. But is she also responsible for failing her kids? Absolutely. That's the case. Now it's your turn to decide. Drop your verdict in the comments below. Is Stephanie Jenkins guilty, innocent, or simply lost beyond repair? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and return to the courtroom for more TikTok trials. Because here, in this corner of the internet, you are the jury.